Well, thanks to everybody that's joining. We're excited to do this. This is interesting territory that we're all in, trying to learn how to work from home. And so we wanted to do a presentation, quick presentation, and just chat with folks. Here at Straight Edge, we've set up a good number of people in the last couple of weeks to be able to work from home. And so there's some challenges that are associated with that. And we want to just talk through some of them and maybe share some things that we've learned and some things that you can do to make working from home a little bit easier. So first things first, we have just the acronym work from home. I had never seen this acronym until about 2 weeks ago. Became a new thing that a lot of people had to learn how to do. So WFH, work from home. There's some things that are hard about working from home. As you can see, I'm in my bedroom. I have four small kids, and in an effort to have a place where I can shut the door and have some quiet time to work, that's where I chose to set up my work from home, was in my bedroom. I'm on a card table, but you know we're making our way through it here. So there's some things that we understand that are helpful about working from home in our experience. And let me take a step back. So at our company, we actually have a handful of people that do work from home already. We have some of them are connected to this meeting right now, but we have people that work remotely and work from home already. So it's something that wasn't altogether foreign for Straight Edge to have people that work from home. However, it was definitely a new thing for me personally to figure out how to set up my office and actually work from home. So it's been an interesting couple of days as we've done this. So one of the first tips that we like to tell people when it comes time to work from home is get dressed. So if you're working from home, try to set your routine. I think that getting dressed is a good step inside of your work from home routine. So wake up like you normally would, and go ahead and work through like your normal, how you would deal with how your normal day would go. So get dressed, eat breakfast, act like you were going to the office even though you're not. As our buddy Chris Farley is letting us know, like, fix your hair, look like you've got things sorted out. It's going to make you feel different about how you're working from home. It's going to not feel like a vacation. I told my wife just the other day that I feel like I'm on. I feel like it's a Saturday. For some reason, when I'm at home, I feel like it's a Saturday, and I feel like I'm supposed to be doing Saturday things. And instead, I'm sitting at my desk trying to work. And so started getting dressed and trying to follow more of my normal work week routine to try to get a sense of being on a work week rather than being on a typical weekend. It's not the weekend. We're still trying to get work done. So do things that are going to help you remember what it's like to work on a normal work day. So our staff, as they started to get ready to go and work from home, man, one of the things that we heard a lot from our staff that we sent home was that their chair situation was really tough. So like sitting at a dining room wooden table, wooden chair was not the ideal sort of setup to get work from home comfort. We spend a lot of time in our office spaces in probably nicer chairs than what you have at home in your office at home, especially if you had to do a makeshift office at home. So work to get a good chair if that's not something you have. One of the things that made me think about the chair was, right now we don't know how long we're going to be in this situation. We don't know if this is a 2-week thing or a month-long thing. And given the time that we don't know about how long we're going to be working from home, go through some of the effort to make your workspace comfortable. So make sure that you have a good chair, make sure you have a place that you can have quiet, make sure that you can work around the rest of your family that's also at home right now and deal with any of the issues that they might have. Hey, I'm going to be on a conference call during this time, so it's probably not a good time to bother me with something, versus other times where, hey, I'm just working through some tasks and an interruption wouldn't be the end of it. You don't want to feel like you're held up inside of your room without any interaction with the rest of your family. I think that's another interesting thing about the situation that we're in right now, is that you're working from home, but you're probably working from home with other people also. Some other times that I've had to work from home, it was a normal day for the rest of the family, and so they've gone about their business and left me at home to work. That's not the situation that we're in right now. You probably have children that are at home from school, and you're trying to work out some of the school things that you have to help them with. and you probably have your spouse at home too, and you're dealing with both of you maybe needing to work from home and still get normal life done. And that's a unique challenge that we have right now. So all of that to say, work on the space that you're going to be in, make it comfortable, make it as easy for you to get your work done as you can. Because like we said, we don't know how long we're going to be in this situation. It may be a couple of weeks, it may be a month, we don't know. But I'm going through some effort on my own to try to make our space that we're going to use for working, as nice as possible for the time being. I don't want to feel like I'm camping. I want to feel like this is something that we can work through for a while. Stay task oriented. So I think some of the difficulties about working from home is that you don't have that routine, and having a routine is going to help a lot, making that to-do list and working down the things on that to-do list. There's things that we know to do when we're in our office, in our environment, in our routine, and I feel like if we're going to break our routine and work from home, we want to try to stay as task oriented as we can. I keep multiple to-do lists and multiple systems that let me know what work needs to get done. And when things get kind of chaotic, and they can when you're working from home, when things get chaotic, it gives me something to go back to and say, okay, what was the next most important thing for me to work on, so that I can keep track of what I need to do. Also, it feels like you're productive. Some of our team on some of our calls, you're trying to figure out if you're as productive or not, whether you're in the office or whether you're working from home. So hanging in there on some task-oriented items is going to go a long way to make you continue to feel like you're productive. So stay task-oriented. And then for those of you that know me, I loved finding this meme because it's from The Office. It made me happy, and I was happy to put it in the PowerPoint. So hopefully those of you other Office fans out there can appreciate the social distancing that The Office was recommending everybody have. But yeah, stay task oriented. Keep track of the things that you have to work on, and don't let those get past you, even though you're working from home. Take a break. So the first couple of days that I was working from home, man, I didn't take the same amount of breaks as I usually did when I was in the office, and I kind of felt it. It made it seem like a very, very long day. So take breaks like you normally would as if you were in the office. You don't have those coworkers to like stand up and go walk around and talk to, or do some things like that, but take a break. Obviously pick a healthy snack, or don't, whatever might make your break more fun. But take those breaks so that you don't feel like you're just stuck in all of the tasks, right? You spent the slide before, you're making all of your list of things you want to work on. Don't forget to take the breaks that you need to take to sort out, just get some mental space, get away from your desk for a second. Don't forget to take those breaks. It's easier to take them when you're in the office. You got to go to the kitchen, you got to get coffee, you got to do these kind of things. You might talk to a coworker. If you're working from home, you're not going to have some of those things. So take some steps to take some of those breaks that you need. Healthy snack, go for a walk around the house, that kind of thing, just to get yourself a little bit away from your desk. On the managerial side of things, if you're going to work with your team remotely, these are some things that have really helped our company as we've made some of this transition to work from home. Set good expectations so that you don't have to micromanage. So I think one of the pitfalls of being remote is that you're going to feel like people might not be working on the same things that they ordinarily would on the same pace, or because you can't see them. And so you maybe have this uneasy feeling that I don't know what people are working on. Rather than making phone calls and text messages and emails and just being this sort of micromanage over and over, reaching out to your team, go through the effort of setting those good expectations up front about what you kind of expect to be done by lunchtime or by the end of the day. Setting some of those good deadlines would give some good expectations around what you're expecting your people to accomplish and kind of the time frame that you think that they should accomplish it in. Those are things that we probably don't feel like we have to do as much when we're in the office, face-to-face, working with others. But if we're going to send our workforce home, we're going to want to know that they're being productive and that you're getting feedback from them on things that they're working on. And I had to resist the urge to sort of instant message or text people and say, what are you working on? That's probably not the right use of my time, and probably not the right way to manage the other people that are trying to get work done. Is what are you working on? What are you working on? Much better just to say, hey, this kind of thing needs to get done in this time frame. Let's work toward that. Have meetings and check-in calls on the same interval that you do now. We tried really hard to keep all of our meetings, even though they shifted from in-person meetings to now virtual or remote meetings over phone calls or over video. We want to keep those intervals. That back to the routine, slide that we had. Want to keep track of our routine, and understand how it's going to affect our normal work week. So keep the meetings that you normally would have, just do them in a different way. We're going to have to be flexible, and everybody needs to kind of keep good spirits about being flexible about what we're changing, and how we're changing here for the next couple of weeks. So continue those check-in calls and those meetings on the same interval that you normally would. You all joined this meeting using Zoom. This is the video conferencing solution that Straight Edge has used for a long time now. Now we're used to using it in a different way. We usually have a couple conference rooms in both of our offices, and that's usually how our meetings happen. But now we're doing lots of Zoom from people, individual, laptops and desktops and home computers and things like that. So this is Zoom. The other tool that we use a lot is Microsoft Teams. So for those of you that are using Office 365 already, Microsoft Teams is a chat tool. And so basically it's either multiple people in a chat room or direct, just one-on-one chat. And we use this a lot in the office, and I think that our usage is going to ramp up even more now that we're away from the office. Teams does have some functionality for conferencing and for video conferencing as well. It's a little more friendly when you're using Teams from somebody in your office to somebody else in your office. It's less friendly when you're trying to do a meeting like we're doing right now, where these are external folks that aren't part of our company and not connected to our teams. Zoom is a little bit easier when you're trying to get other people involved in a meeting that might not be in your company. But for inter-office collaboration, Microsoft Teams is a great option. If that's not something you guys use or know how to use, or maybe you have it but have never used it, reach out to us. We can help go through a quick, like, here's some things you can use in your company right now around Teams. It's really simple. It doesn't take long to get people interested in using Teams. Another option is the Cisco WebEx. This is one that's been around for an awful long time. So if it's something you're familiar with, you can use WebEx. Join.me. We're seeing people use it as an alternative to Zoom. I don't know if in the tech world, we've noticed in the last 3 weeks, Zoom actually has had some issues. Their scalability, the system is being taxed, and so sometimes the meetings aren't working well, and sometimes people aren't able to get the phone calls to happen with Zoom. So we do want to have some alternatives in case Zoom ever has an issue. I'm sure that as a company, they're having a wild influx of people trying to do remote meetings. So Join Me is another one. And then for anybody out there that's using the G Suite of tools like Gmail and Google Apps for Business, Google has one that's called Google Hangouts. It looks very much like Zoom, multiple boxes. We call it the Brady Bunch, multiple Brady Bunch boxes of the people that have joined, and kind of let people join that way. The next slide here, I want to take a couple minutes for some Q&A, but while we do that, so some of you guys might know Priscilla Solis. She's on the call here. She's one of our people here at Straight Edge that does business development, and Priscilla does business development from her home in Houston, and she does that development into San Antonio and into Corpus and Houston as well. She's been working at home now for about 18 months from her home in Houston for our company. I wanted to give her a couple minutes just to share some of the things that maybe she's learned working from home, and some of the things that have helped her be able to work from home successfully. So Priscilla, if you can unmute yourself and go ahead and share a little bit.
Good morning, everyone. I think some of the things that Doug has said have been wonderful. Like, I have a designated space that I work from, and it makes it so much easier to go to this one place and not try to figure out where I'm going to sit or where I'm going to be at. It helps me organize everything. The tools that we have been wonderful. I No one knows that I'm not working from the office. People usually find it strange when I tell them I'm in Houston and I'm talking to them in San Antonio or Corpus. So the tools that you use really do play a part in that. I communicate with the office. For me, like he said, it's actually been 2 years next month, Doug, that I've been working from Houston. Um, and it's been interesting because people always ask me, do you have issues? Do you have trouble connecting? Do you have like lagging, slow workflow? And it doesn't when I'm talking to anybody in the office. Like Doug says, we communicate a lot through Teams and through Zoom. And it's just really seamless for us. And I can tell you I've not had one issue working from home. And I think a lot of that is the tools. A lot of that is we have a great like internet company over here that helps also. We never have outages, knock on wood on that one. But it is very easy. I'm very easily distracted. Doug can tell you that sometimes. And so it is definitely go with having a list and writing things down because it's so easy to get distracted. And I live in an apartment complex and something's always going wrong. And I have a maintenance man coming in. And so I finally got to the point where it's like, you're going to have to come in early or come in later. So kind of figure those things out also. I know it's harder with kids because they're going to run in whenever they want, but I have a 19-year-old that I still have to tell, hey, I'm starting a conference call. If you're going to work, get out now. You know? So I don't know if that's kind of what you wanted me to talk about, Doug.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some things that you do to try to stay on task, like so that you don't get distracted and so that you get your breaks and can stay on task?
I think kind of with me, you know, we make a lot of phone calls. And so it's kind of sometimes it can get monotonous when you're working from home. And it's so boring because I'm a very social person. If you know me, I feed off of people. And I think I told Doug one time, is like sucking the life out of me, you know, to be out, to be here. So get out and walk. We have a really strange thing. We have an insurance plan that pays us for walking. So, you know, I'll make 10 calls and go do the 500 step walk, you know, or go at lunchtime and go walk your longer one. Kind of break it up because it does tend to feel like a day is like 18 hours, you know, especially when you're working from home and now you're answering the phones or the phones are ringing at 6 o'clock in the evening and you're not sure what to do with that. You need to find a way to separate yourself from work, whatever that is, for a little bit. Kind of keep the schedule that you had. It's really hard, but people will call you on the weekends and people will call you after hours and people will call you at 5 o'clock in the morning because that's when they're starting to work. And you just kind of got to figure those things out and settle in and expect that at some point, especially if you're used to going to
I'm trying
office,
to listen in on this straight edge
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Realize that, yeah, it always sounds wonderful that I'm going to work from home and I get to sleep in and, you know, I don't have to go to the office. But prepare yourself for that loneliness of being detached from people and not being able to talk to them. I think that's something maybe people aren't talking about.
Right. What do you think is a way that people could try to combat that feeling?
It's kind of still communicate with your workers, with your coworkers, and, you know, we'll like message each other, you know, Kenny and I will message each other something dumb that we saw or something, you know, just kind of staying in contact with each other and not letting that change. I think that's the biggest thing that I missed, was having people to talk to and joke around with and kind of break the monotony of the day. And so keep doing that. I mean, you can chat at any time, or you see something funny, you know, go ahead and share it. Again, get out and get some fresh air, you know, because you don't leave. You're here. For some reason, I find it hard to leave during the day. And that's why I go and take a walk, because being inside in kind of a darker room all day long kind of will wear on you also. And so just get out and get some fresh air. Do a 5-minute walk around the block every hour or something, just to feel like you're alive, because you will start to feel like you're not alive sometimes.
Good. Thanks for that. We got a couple of minutes left here. I wanted to give an opportunity, anybody that's connected that might have like a question. Is there a concern or a question that you have about having your folks work from home and how we're gonna, take good care of them while they're working from home? If anybody has a question, this would be a great time to pipe up. You'll need to unmute yourself so that you can ask that question.
Yes. How do you monitor your employees from home? And I joined a little bit late, so I don't know if you already went over this.
Sure. Monitor,
But
you mean
how
like
do you know
what they're doing?
Well, not necessarily what they're doing, but that they are, because our business, it's going to be pretty much on the computer the entire time, working from our system.
Right.
So how can I kind of tell that they're in there and doing that, other than them telling me they are, or running reports at a later date? How do I tell that?
Yeah, one thing around the chat or the sort of daily huddle. So it's not on accident that our like video chat or our daily huddle, like we do those in video and they're usually early in the day. So that people, at least everybody got in front of their computer by 8:30 because they made the daily huddle call. So we do a daily huddle. Our entire company does a daily huddle 2 times a week. And then our service department does a huddle every day. And both of those are early in the day. So we kind of know that, hey, everybody got, checked in. We saw their face. They were working, by this time every day. That's one thing that came to my mind. The second thing is being able to do the chatting helps a lot. The Teams application shows your status. And so you see they're logged into Teams. So at a minimum, they logged into like the chat program to know that they're there, and it'll let you know how long they've been idle and if they're away or not from the desk, or if it shows a little green light if they're in front of the computer logged into Teams and working. So that's one thing that might help, is seeing people's green light, red light in the Teams application. That's one thing that we use. And then I guess thirdly, you kind of touched on it. Maybe there's some, you have a medical biller that might be posting payments or posting things like that. Maybe those reports could be run more frequently so that you're able to see, the specific, like, here's what got done before lunch today, and then here's what got done after lunch today. I guess the work product is maybe what I would be getting at. If there is a very, very big concern, there are some tracking tools out there that can be installed more on the productivity side to be able to tell like what is happening on a computer when somebody logged in to their work computer, when they logged out of their work computer. If you were looking for maybe more of a technical solution of how you would check and see if somebody's logged in or out of their computer, that's another function that we can work on if you're trying to figure out if people are actually logging in remotely or if they're not. Good question. That is a fear of a lot of the business owners and leaders that I talk to about how do you know that your team's going to still be productive. And at least, well, I'll just tell you exactly what we've done. The same metrics I look at every day for our company to know whether we're productive, we're looking at those exact same metrics now and making sure that we're not dropping off in like our productivity. The big ones for us are the number of tickets or the work orders that get closed out every day. And so I'm looking at the number that are getting closed out every day. We've had most of our staff home for almost 2 weeks now, and we're looking to make sure that those numbers don't drop off. And if they do, we're going to start asking some questions about, is it the technology that's keeping you from being able to function, or is it the work environment? Like, what can we do to help so that the productivity is not dropping off? As you all can imagine, we've actually gotten more busy as a result of this, just trying to work out all the technical kinks of people working from home. So we have plenty to do, and we want to make sure that we're able to get it all done. Hopefully that answered at least some of your question.
Yeah. What about it did? I might be interested in the tracking tool though, because I'm kind of a micromanager right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I might be interested in that.
Okay.
But what about cell phone? Like, we don't have employees that we have like on call or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't provide cell phones to those employees, but I have, of course, mine not is medical, so they're going to probably be calling insurance companies from their cell phones.
Yeah.
What do you, I mean, you're in a different situation because
Right.
y'all are kind of all technology, but what do you recommend with that?
So
using their personal cell phones and reimbursing them, or?
I mean, thinking of your specific situation, like that actually is what makes the most sense to me. Just knowing that you're probably not going to be calling a lot of patients that way. They're going to be talking to insurance companies. So you're not necessarily afraid of your staff's phone numbers getting out there in the public. I would think that a stipend for the time being that they're using their cell phone to make work calls would be be a nice way to handle that with your employee. There are plenty of technical options out there, like a phone system that might support voice over IP phone calls and things like that. But if you don't already have that in place, I would think that the cell phone stipend would be the next best option, because they are going to use like a personal device, I'd say, to make that phone call. Priscilla kind of mentioned it earlier. She actually has a couple options while she's mobile. There's an app on the phone that can look like our phone system, and then there's actually a phone on her desk, a regular handset on her desk that calls and rings and looks like it's from our phone system. But those are some phone system solutions. But if you have your billing people working from home and they're needing to make calls, I would say do the cell phone stipend. That's probably your least expensive way on the short term. For it to fix a short term problem, that's probably the least expensive way to go about it right now. It's a good question. When you pose that to your staff, when you send them home, maybe that's something you even talk about right then. Like, hey, I know you're going to make some calls from your cell phone. We're gonna reimburse you for that. At this rate or whatever. Maybe you'll get some goodwill. While you do that. Cool. Does anybody else have any other questions they'd like to pose right now? Well, great. Well, I'm glad everybody got to join. We wanted this to just be a short time that we could spend together and talk a little bit about some of the challenges that we have right now and the technology that we're using to solve them, and maybe some of the not technology that we use to solve some of these things that we're dealing with. So thanks everybody for joining. If this was helpful, please let me know, and we'll keep doing them, and hopefully get more of bigger groups each time we meet. Maybe that we can get some good collaboration and people talking through the things that they're working at home and what the challenges are and what might be working. But thanks everybody for joining. And like I said, if this was helpful, please let me know so we can keep doing it. All right. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Mm-hmm.